Alright ladies, this is Alex from Mindful Attraction 2.0. Second time making this video because it froze. Alright, so in today's video we're going to talk about how to make a guy chase using neediness. A lot of women use neediness the wrong way. They think neediness is negative. They think neediness, it is negative to a point, right? But I'm talking neediness from a different perspective. Neediness is more about the emotion of you want, the emotion that is a fear of him not liking you. You see what I'm saying? But the neediness that I'm talking about is more about your vulnerability, your desire to be with him. The problem is that when you're insecure, you tend to not want to show the guy that you're too interested because you don't want him to lose interest. That happens a lot, especially if you're always used to guys always wanting you for sex, or that you meet a guy and he's special, so you don't want to be too upfront with him. For example, it's kind of like when you have a guy that you like and you want to have sex with him, right? And you don't do it initially, even though you want to. You don't do it because you just want to come across as the kind of girl that doesn't do that. You see what I'm saying? And so that's not really yourself. You're even though you're acting, you're trying to be yourself. You're not really being yourself because you're not really expressing yourself. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to find that balance where you could actually use neediness to your advantage. All right. And it's something that's kind of paradoxical, but that actually makes sense. Okay, for example, let me give you an analogy. Let's say I'm a guy, right, and I like you, right? Now, let's just say you have a history of guys rejecting you. And because you were needed, you meet a guy, he rejects you and all that sort of stuff, and now you meet a good guy. Let's say you meet me, right? You know, and you're like, oh my God, I want to be cool with him. So I text you and we're like, hey, what's up, girl? And you try to be cool. Hey, what's up? And you don't send that many text messages, and you act like you're not interested, right? And I'm the one who's investing in you. I'm the one who's showing interest. I'm the one who's asking you out. But because of your own fears, you try to act like you're not too interested. You try to, if I ask you out, you try to flake on me. Now that's all fine and dandy because that's gonna make me chase butt. It's gonna get to the point where you're doing it where it's gonna push me away. All right. So I had a client a few weeks ago who had a guy who she was talking to, right? I think she was from Puerto Rico. You know, she doesn't mind me telling this. And she said that he introduced her to her friends, to his friends, right? And even called her his girlfriend, right? Without her hearing it, acting like she wasn't hearing, he called her his girlfriend. This is a guy who has a lot of options. You know what I'm saying? He has a lot of options. So she felt that if she acted uninterested, that would get him interested. But then suddenly she noticed that he stopped texting her for 3 days, right? And she was like, what should I do? What should I do? Should I act uninterested? I was like, look, girl, right? What you gotta do is this, right? You're going a little bit too far with this. You really want to text him back, right? Yeah, all right. So then if he shows you signs like he likes you, you gotta be vulnerable. You gotta stop being defensive and be vulnerable enough to express your neediness. So I told her, look, even though he hasn't texted you back in 3 days, just text him. Tell him, hey, where you been? And as soon as she did that, he texted her back immediately. So what did that say? It meant that the guy felt like he was putting too much, and he wasn't getting anything in return. See, now the problem is that most people, when you're not acting from need, you're gonna calibrate it normally. You're gonna know when to back off and when not to back off. But when you're needy and when you're like walking on eggshells, you don't know when to text back, and you're thinking when to text back, and you're just too analytical about it. You just go overboard, where the guy's gonna say, I don't even think she's interested because she's acting uninterested. You think you're acting kind of uninterested, but in reality, you're really pushing him away because you're saying you're not interested at all. You don't respond to his text messages just to act like you're not interested, you know, and you don't know how to balance it out. So one of the things you gotta do is that when you act cold, which is to say, when you try to act like you're not interested, then you gotta follow up with warmth. When he acts cold by not texting you back or not texting you for a few days, you gotta text him and see what happens. But when you're needy and you're trying to show that you're not needy, which is what I call the reverse implication, you're gonna go overboard, and you're not really gonna give yourself the chance to get him back. So neediness is helpful to a certain point, where if you are interested, text him. If you ever heard from him after a while, tell him, why haven't I heard from you? Now, do this when he shows signs of interest. You see, when he's asking you out, when he's hanging out with you, when he wants to spend time with you. If you notice he suddenly stops spending time with you, if you notice he stops texting you, when he show that much investment, it's okay to invest back and act needy. Like, hey, where have you been? Hey, I want to see you. I miss you. As long as he puts in, you put out. Now, Well, how can you take the first step? Taking the first step and being needy is not that bad too. So you can act needy, show a lot of interest, text him back fast, right? And then take a step back and see what happens. Take a step back and don't respond. As soon as you notice he's not responding to you, then return and start texting him. What you may see is that as soon as you return, he may return back with more investment, text you back a lot more often. Why? Because guys are insecure. This happens a lot to guys where they'll show interest in a girl, and because you're showing interest to a girl too much, they don't know when to really be interested or not. They don't know if the girl really likes you or not. So you gotta risk it. You gotta risk being needy from time to time, as long as you balance it out with coldness. So you can act needy, show interest, show a lot of interest, express yourself that you want to see him, that you cannot wait to see him, right? And then if you want to test out how much he likes you, take a step back. Now, if you notice that he doesn't text you, that he doesn't return to you, but then that he doesn't text you back after a couple of days, and then you text him back, and you notice that he immediately texts you back, doesn't that say that he was waiting for your text message? Of course it does. As soon as you notice he immediately texts you back, then take a little bit of a step back and notice if he chases back. You see? So you kind of like testing the waters out. And what you got to realize that is nothing wrong with being needy. Nothing wrong with showing your interest. The issue is that when you've gotten used to guys rejecting you, or you've gotten used to guys only liking you for certain interests, you don't know that it's actually helpful, because it shows vulnerability. A lot of women act like their shit don't stink. You understand? And so a lot of guys are very careful about that. They're kind of afraid to put themselves out there because they don't want to feel stupid when the girl doesn't text you back. So you gotta be aware of that guys mostly are more insecure to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? Neediness is not that bad. Like, for example, like when a girl doesn't text me back, I'll tell her, yo, where you been? You know, but only when it's a comfort level, and only when we hanged out for a few times, only time when I do that, you know what I'm saying? But when you pursue, go all out, pursue, text, ask him where you been, call him, and then take a step back. Feel as though, oh fuck, like, oh man, she was really texting me, now I haven't heard for her in a while. You see, you put your presence, you make it known, and then you take a step back. So on her occasion, he didn't text her back after 3 days, right? And even though he was showing a lot of interest, she was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, those confusing signs. So then text him, hey, how have you been? Where you been? And see what happens. Does he text you back? You see, does he text you back with a lot of enthusiasm, or does he text you back with eh? If he likes you, he's going to text you back with enthusiasm, fast and happy. If he doesn't, he's not going to do that. If you call him, he's going to call you back. If he doesn't like you. But you got to first put yourself out there and find out. Nothing wrong with being needy. Remember that. Like, you got to use your neediness, because your neediness is part of your vulnerability. You got to let him feel needed. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's it. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I just wanted to make a video on that, because neediness, nothing wrong with neediness. It kind of makes a guy chase, like initially when you're interested in a guy, you can make him chase by being needy and then taking a step back. All right, you got that, girl? All right. Anyways, it's Alex from mindforattraction.org. Tomorrow I have a special, right? Tomorrow I have a special, and it's gonna be for 2 days, and this rarely happens. This is not gonna happen ever again. Well, maybe one more time at the end, by maybe in like a few months, but this is like rarely happens. I'm gonna be offering half off my one-on-one coaching, not the coaching podcast, but one-on-one coaching. I'm gonna be offering half off, just for 2 days. All right. And if you're interested, just go to mindforattraction.org and send me a message there, and let me know specifically what you want to work on, and make it specific, because I'm only gonna pick a few of them, a few clients. So yeah, let me know, and I'll see you guys some other time, and have a good day. Bye-bye.